Ponytails. Read by Scribbler. All's Well That Ends Well by billymorph. Midward, a torrent of water fell on my head, followed by a bucket. "Rainbow Dash, that's not funny!" I yelled at the heavens. There was a distinct lack of laughing rainbow-maned Pegasus in the air, however. Instead, Pinkie Pie gambled over, the dozen or so buckets on her back slopping water all over. "Sorry, Twilight!" she exclaimed, skidding to a stop next to me. I didn't manage to get out of the way of the second wave of water, and once again I was soaked through. So much for the day shimmering and shining. Dripping and complaining seemed to be on the table instead. "Oh, and I interrupted your song!" Pinkie wailed as I rubbed the water out of my eyes. "Well, don't worry, I'll have you dry in 10 seconds flat!" Pinkie exploded into motion, accelerating into a pink blur as she raced around me. Before I could even squeeze another word out, I was swept up by the tempest, blown and buffeted by the miniature tornado. A strange sense of déjà vu, or possibly nausea, overtook me, before I was hurled out of the maelstrom and hit the ground. Hard. "There we go!" Pinkie chirped, rushing over and dragging me to my hooves. "And sorry for interrupting your song. Oh, I can make it up for you. Quick, pick an animal, a number, and a dance." I blinked. Pinkie was vibrating with barely constrained energy, which meant either some pony had a birthday today, or she'd broken into the cake's coffee supply again. Either way, it was best to just answer. 3-toed sloth, 7, and the waltz, I said, still trying to wrap my head around the situation. "Pinkie, what time? I gotta get more buckets from the reservoir before I miss my slot!" Pinkie shot off, leaving a pink contrail behind her as she snaked her way through the crowd. I blinked and shook myself. For a moment there, I thought I'd seen Rainbow Dash's cutie mark on her flank. But I must have been mistaken. Sighing, I cast a long mastered spell to shake the rest of the water from my coat and defluff my mane. Right then. Now, where was I? Oh, right! Bonbon gave me a funny look as she trotted past. Grumbling to myself, I made my way to the market. Beyond the occasional pink blur as the over-caffeinated party pony raced back and forth through town, it was a wonderful day in Ponyville. The streets were bustling, a cheery smile greeted me at every turn, and I even spotted a familiar Stanton bobbing along over the heads of the crowd. "Hey, Applejack!" I hurried over to the farm pony, who was... I froze next to Applejack, as if I'd just been struck between the eyes.
"Howdy, Twi,"
she called, beaming. It was not unusual to see Applejack in town walking Winona. However, far from the familiar hard-worn dyed leash, she had a pink ribbon in her teeth. The very angry angel bunny the ribbon was attached to was unexpected, and I have the distinct feeling that if I ever mention this again, I would live to regret it. All of that was overshadowed, though, by the utter impossibility of the 3 butterflies embossed on Applejack's flank.
You okay there, Sugar Cube?
Applejack continued, dragging the rabbit along with her as she put a hoof on my shoulder.
"You look like you seen a ghost."
"Your cutie mark!" I wailed, dropping to my haunches. "Nice work there, Twilight. Real calm and collected." Applejack leaned around and peered at her flank.
"Shoot, you had me worried for a moment there, Twi."
She shook her head.
"Looks fine to me."
But, I stammered. "That's not right!"
1, 2, 3 butterflies. Seems like it's right to me.
She gave me a concerned look.
"You sure you're okay? You look jumpier than a grasshopper running from a lawnmower."
I felt my ear twitch. "But that's Fluttershy's cutie mark," I pressed, jabbing my hoof at the offending butterflies. You have 3 apples as a cutie mark.
Oh, shoot, Twi, you've gonna mix things up.
She shook her head.
No, I've had this ever since I was a filly. I even left home just so I didn't get an apple buck and cutie mark. Now, to be fair, I didn't see me caring for animals when I pegged for Manhattan, but I don't regret it.
Fluttershy has an apple buck and cutie mark? I said, stunned, somehow picking out the least relevant piece of information.
Well, I wouldn't say bucking. Girl don't really have the flanks for it.
Applejack dropped into a conspiratorial whisper.
Not that you'd ever hear a big man complaining about him.
I blushed scarlet.
Still, she has a way with the trees. I'd never have thunk it to look at her, but I ain't one to judge. If it's her call of a cutie, that's all right by me.
She shook her head. This was a nightmare. It had to be. Cutie marks changing made no sense.
But I've told y'all this before. What's the matter, Twi?
For a moment, I stared at her, brain working a mile a minute. I needed a lie to lose Applejack so I could A. Panic, B. Figure out what in the name of Celestia was going on. I began. Then inspiration struck. I hit myself with a mild amnesia charm, I announced, with far too much enthusiasm. Applejack's eyes widened.
Shoot, Twi, that sounds right nasty.
Oh, no. It's, well, just making things a bit hazy. Once around Ponyville to jog my memory and I'll be all better. She frowned at me, and I returned as wide a smile as I could muster. After a few moments, I seemed to pass muster. It was nice to know that at least Applejack still couldn't spot a lie if it bit her on the nose.
Well, okay, Sugar Cube. You need a helping hoof?
I hurriedly shook my head. No, I'll be fine. Just, where can I find Rarity? Applejack gave me a flat look.
Where you always can. Sugar Cube Corner.
Right, of course, stupid spell. Well, I'll be off. I set off at a gallop, barging my way through the crowd. Something had gone wrong. Something had gone seriously, horribly, world-breakingly wrong. Swapping cutie marks was supposed to be impossible. Even Discord had only been able to suppress them, and not only had Applejack failed to notice anything was wrong, she thought her cutie mark was normal when it was pointed out. Hey, Twilight! Pinky cut in, effortlessly keeping up with my wild gallop. Bonus question! Pick a color! Pinky! She zoomed away, and I did a double take. There was no denying it. Rainbow Dash's cloud and lightning bolt mark was definitely on her flank. She was long gone before I could get a second word in, though. I skidded to a stop in front of Sugar Cube Corner. It seemed normal, at least for the moment. I stepped up to knock, and... Door! Pinky exclaimed, pushing me out of the way of the opening door and into a bush. Huh. So the Pinky sense was still inexplicably working. Good to know. Oh, Twilight! Rarity exclaimed, spotting me in the bush. Her magic closed the door of the bakery behind her as she hurried over. Terribly sorry, darling. I didn't see you there. I groaned. No problem. Happens all the time. I took an offered hoof, and Rarity lifted me to my hooves. There was no sign of Pinkie Pie anywhere in the street. It was definitely going to be a bad day. Oh, no! I groaned as I spotted the party balloons on Rarity's flank. You too? What? She said, surprised, holding a hoof up to her chest. Is something the matter? Probably yes. Rarity, can you tell me what your cutie mark means?
Oh, surely I've told you that boring old story before now,
she replied with a dismissive wave. I folded my ears flat. Humor me, please.
Well, dear,
Rarity began, holding a hoof to her chest and posing dramatically.
It means I am the premier party planner in all of Ponyville, and beyond, if I do say so myself. From quinceañeras to soirees, they come from far and wide to seek my advice in the subtle art of the social dance.
She paused and frowned.
But, of course, you already knew that.
It's a less than normal day. have you seen Rainbow Dash? I need to check something right away, and— Twilight! Scootaloo screamed, thundering toward us. The little filly may not have been able to fly, but she had an impressive set of lungs. What? I snapped, rounding on her. What is it now? She slid to a stop in front of us. Twilight! She gasped, nearly hyperventilating in her panic. You gotta come quick! Something's wrong with Rainbow Dash! Rarity and I shared a worried look, then set off at a gallop, my magic wrapping around the distraught filly and dragging her along with us. Where? I panted. Carousel Boutique! I should have guessed. There was only one cutie mark unaccounted for. Rarities. I could only imagine the trouble Rainbow Dash could get into with a sewing machine. Hopefully I could contain things before the entire town was destroyed. Hey, Twilight! Pinky chirped, running backwards alongside us. Your present's ready! Pinky! There is a crisis going on! Aw, but it'll blow away! Just look! She turned her pleading eyes on me. I resisted for all of 3 seconds before firing up my magic and teleporting on the spot, bringing me to a stop in the middle of the road. Okay, what am I looking at? My jaw dropped. There in the sky were 7 fluffy, pink, 3-toed sloths made out of clouds, dancing a waltz, complete with a gramophone and musical notes. I babbled, my brain hitting its pinky limit in record time and checking out for the day. Oh, I haven't been asked that in ages! Pinky reached into her hair and pulled out a well-worn letter. Here we go! With some trepidation, I took the letter and began to read.
From the desk of Radiant Skies, manager of the Greater Canterlot area. Cloudsdale Weather Service, 3 Marble Boulevard, Cloudsdale. We don't know. Sincerely, Radiant Skies.
I looked up from the letter to see Pinky beaming at me. You can clear the skies of clouds in 10 seconds flat, can't you? I asked, my stomach sinking with dread. Yipperoni! Huh. I'd managed to find a version of Pinkie Pie that was a greater offense to scientific reason than the norm. I wasn't sure whether to be impressed or terrified. No, wait. Terrified. Definitely terrified. Come on! Scootaloo interjected, bouncing up and down next to me. We gotta help Rainbow Dash! Right, Pinky, I'll deal with this later. Okie dokie dokie! In a flash, she was gone, leaving me with Rarity, who was regarding me with confusion. Also, later! The Carousel Boutique was just a few blocks away, and with all the running practice living in Ponyville has given me, we reached it in minutes. A huge crowd of ponies waited there for us, crowding the doors of the shop, demanding to be let in. They hadn't quite got to the angry mob stage, but they were building up to it, I was sure of it. You see? You see? Scootaloo exclaimed. It's terrible! Rainbow Dash launched herself out of an upper window. She was dressed immaculately. Her rainbow mane was long, down to her fetlocks, brushed to perfection and secured in ribbons of silver and gold. A slim robe was bound at her waist, trimmed also with silver and gold thread. It shimmered in the morning light as the Pegasus circled above the awestruck crowd's heads. Her poise was Canterlot perfect as she settled gracefully onto the veranda. Now, there is no need to be uncouth, she declared, addressing the crowd in a polished tone. Form an orderly queue, and welcome to the Carousel Boutique, where everything is sleek, elite, and unique. No! Scootaloo screamed, clutching her ears.
Why? Whatever is the matter?
Rarity inquired, utterly perplexed. Scootaloo jabbed a hoof at the elegant Pegasus. Rainbow Dash is dressing in style! I cradled my head on my hooves. Things are definitely not gonna be fine.
That was All's Well and Ends Well. It was written by billymorph and read by Scribbler. Okay, thank you all very much for listening. Firstly, as I'm sure you can all probably tell, I'm not Scribbler. Our poor Scribbler has rather tragically lost her voice, and it's not just a little bit raspy, it's properly gone. And I think she may even put a little clip of her here trying to speak. It's equal parts painfully heartbreaking and fairly adorable.
That was all's well fuck it! Reverb, help!
But luckily for all of us, this is not a permanent thing, and our Scribbler just needs some time to rest and repair her lovely voice. Oh, I'm sorry, some of you may still be wondering, who in Equestria are you, and why are you telling us all this? Well, I'm Scribbler's boyfriend, Reverb Brony, and Scribbler didn't want you all to go 2 weeks without giving all you lovely people a fic reading. Also, I've got a few little things here to share with you all. This particular fic reading was actually the prize chosen by the author for winning, let me see if I can get this right, I mess this up a bunch of times, the Most Dangerous Game Fanfic Contest on FinFiction. Congratulations, by the way, billymorph. That's a pretty huge thing to win a contest like that. The contest was run by Opalescence and involved putting a new spin on the most inundated fics in the fandom, like cupcakes and My Little Dashie. Billymorph's winning fic was called A World Without Kindness, and everyone should totally check that out, because it's one of the best Flutterbat fics that are out there. Alrighty, nextly, our lovely Scribbler has actually received 3 beautiful pieces of fan art. I'll just load up this first one so I can see it with you guys. Alright, this first one is by Katie Cat, and I really like this one. It's very pretty. Scribbler actually used it on her Skype picture for a few days, and it's very cute. I think that's actually the first time I've seen her cutie mark done with a gold sort of highlight to it all. It's really quite pretty. But yeah, no, I like that one as well. Okay, the next one. Holy crap. This one is so terrifying. That's so scary. This one's by Sir Artemis7, and oh my god, that's so freaky. Oh, and if you guys have Scribbler on Skype, she's actually changed her Skype picture to this at the moment. It's so messed up. It's so messed up. Oh. It was very well done, though. And the third one is by I Do Arts, and this is a very cute, very shiny looking one, especially the hair. I really like the sheen on that hair. And yeah, those are the 3 pieces of fan art that she has. And lastly, but of course not least, we've got all the wonderful people on Patreon who are helping to support our lovely Scribbler and her beautiful dog Suki. Thank you all so much for doing that. I'm sorry, I'm going to try to pronounce all your names here, and hopefully I'm not going to mess them up. I'm sorry, I'm not as good at this as Scribbler is, but I'll do my best. Here we go. We've got Gamer Brony, Limey Pony, Ian Jensen, Shining Tevos Star, Marcus, Stephen Knight, The One Ryu, or Ryu. I know some people pronounce it Ryu and some people pronounce it Ryu for Street Fighter. But yeah, sorry, getting sidetracked. Mystic, Xeno, Starlight Stream. We've got Mad Curse, just M. Ask Nightmare Luna, Crepulent Brony. There's no T in the middle of it, but I want to put a T in there. Crepulent Brony. I'm sorry. Houston Russell. We've got Sturdy Solace, Norman, Scout Charger, Claus Heed. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And yeah, thank you all so much for supporting Scribbler and for donating on Patreon and for making it through this really long outro with me. Thank you so much. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Be lovely to each other, and good night, everybody.